What makes an acid or base weak? Imagine pouring a glass of vinegar or ammonia and wondering why they don't burn your skin like stronger chemicals. That's because they are weak acids or bases. But what exactly makes them weak? Let's find out. An acid or base is called weak because it does not fully break apart or releases ions when mixed with water. Instead, only some of the molecules split into ions, while others stay intact. This creates a balance called an equilibrium, where molecules and ions coexist. For acids, this means only a small part of the acid molecules give off hydrogen ions, which are also called protons. For bases, only a limited number of molecules accept protons or releases hydroxide ions. The key is how tightly the molecules hold onto these ions. If the bonds are strong, fewer ions are released, making the acid or base weak. Think of it like a tug-of-war. If the bonds are weak, the ions can easily break free, making the acid or base strong. If the bonds are strong, fewer ions escape, and the acid or base remains weak. The strength of these bonds depends on the molecular structure and how stable the ions are once formed. Scientists measure this behavior with something called the acid dissociation constant for acids and the base dissociation constant for bases. Smaller values mean weaker acids or bases because less ionization occurs. For example, vinegar has a weak acid called acetic acid, with only about 1% of its molecules releasing hydrogen ions in water. That's why vinegar tastes milder than hydrochloric acid, which is a strong acid that dissociates almost completely. Similarly, ammonia is a weak base because it only partially accepts protons and releases hydroxide ions. This partial dissociation makes ammonia less harsh but still effective for cleaning. Many everyday substances are weak acids or bases, which is why they are safer to handle and use. Understanding why acids and bases are weak helps explain natural processes like how our stomachs digest food gently or how soil pH affects plant growth. It also guides us in using these substances safely in medicine, cooking, and industry. So, the main reason an acid or base is weak is because it only partially ionizes in water. This partial ionization depends on the strength of the bonds holding the ions and the stability of the ions once they form. It's a simple but important concept that shapes how these chemicals behave in our world.